Welcome to the All Jammed Up podcast presented to you by Music Never Stopped. Today is Monday, May 5th, and today's guest we have Mr. Cam.
What are you doing, podcast for Lot?
Yeah.
Come be on a Lot podcast.
Yeah, hell yeah, All Jammed Up.
This dude's doing a podcast. If you want to be on some podcast, come give an interview.
Hell yeah.
All
Good morning, fools. Welcome to the All Jammed Up podcast. I'm your host, Clint Dotson, and it's Funny Guy Week this week. We have Mr. Cam today. We talk about, what got him into Phish, what got him into comedy. We kind of talk about what it's like doing a podcast, and, I learn a lot from him. We do a deep dive into Chicago sports a little bit, and I just get to know the guy a little bit more, man. He's someone we've been going back and forth. Funny story, actually. So when I started the podcast, one of the first people I reached out to was Cam. I emailed him, and I was like, hey, man, I'm starting a podcast, too. I think it would be fun to have you on mine. I could do yours to kind of help me. And I know you've been doing it longer, so if I'm stepping on your toes, I apologize, but just thought it would be a good idea. Let me know your thoughts. And then maybe 2 months go by, and I never hear from him, and I'm like, damn, this dude hates me. Definitely doesn't want to fuck with me at all. And then one day he just messaged me on Instagram, and he's like, yo, I definitely owe you an email. I'm sorry, I saw that. I just never got back to you. My bad. And I was like, oh, cool. But, yeah, so we have him on the podcast. It's a great time, and got to know the guy a little bit better. Hopefully I can meet him in person. Maybe I'll catch him at a Phish show or something. But it was a really great interview. One of my favorite ones in a while. Sometimes the interviews are very interviewing, and this one felt very conversational. So probably be good for you guys as a listener too. And then on Thursday, we have Kyle Gordon, who kind of not really jam band. He does like comedy music, but we'll talk about all that on Thursday. But today's Cam, so let's get right into it. Interview with Mr. Cam.
Hey, it's happening! Everybody stay calm!
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay calm.
everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Alrighty, guys, we're here with Mr. Cam. You guys know him, host of the Best Show Ever podcast. And keep your eyes out for it, because I just did it, and I bombed the big question.
No. I bombed. Dude, I bombed as a host. But that's a good episode, dude. That's a fucking... We get into it. We get into
That's a
some
good
real...
one,
yeah, we talk about some politics. Some fucking jam band politics, dude.
We do. We leave the Phish stuff out, though, because we're saving that for you here to do, because I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not the Phish expert here.
Oh, shit. Am I the Phish? Oh, shit. Here we go.
Well, before we get to anything, how many times have you seen Phish?
I'm at 45 now.
Okay.
45 after this run, yeah.
Do you think anybody's going to beat... I'm trying to see if somebody can beat Lane's record on the podcast. I don't think anybody's going to.
Lane's at like 200...
183.
Man, you would be surprised. Like there are some people out there. Like the guy who I went to my first show with, I think he was at like 340 when I went with him. And that was fucking 8 years ago now. So like he's definitely
340?
something like that, dude. Like these people, listen, they go see this band. And when a band's around for 40 years, you can get those kind of numbers. You can't hit that with Billy yet. Like that'd be stupid.
Yeah. I bet there's people that have seen the Grateful Dead like crazy amount of times, but they didn't have like any Billy bass or what is it, Fishnet for counting your Phish ones. So I bet there's some people back in the day who've seen the Grateful Dead upwards of 500, 600, 700.
Oh yeah, but I mean, like, if you somehow like went to Vermont, like if you like saw Phish in Vermont in the '80s, that means you've been seeing Phish for fucking like 5 decades maybe, because they took the one off. Like,
Yeah.
4 decades. Like that's crazy. Like, you'll get there. We'll all get there with Billy and shit.
Yeah. So
But I'm at 45 right now.
I want to get into a bunch of different stuff, but I kind of just we briefly talked about it a bit on your podcast, but kind of what got you into like this jam band world? Like, was it somebody introduced you to music? You went to a show. Like, what kind of made you want to like keep listening to Phish?
Well, when I was younger, my family owned a restaurant, and I worked in the restaurant at a pretty young age. My older brother, I have a half brother, who's 10 years older than me. That was like a
And
big.
where are you from again?
I was like born outside of Chicago, but this restaurant was in Wisconsin. We moved up to Wisconsin when I was like 9 or 8. Is a Rosati's Pizza. So people from Chicagoland area know what Rosati's Pizza is, and they like moved up to Wisconsin in that time, and I worked in that kitchen, you know, with my older brother who was a chef, and him and all his buddies were like a Phish brain trust. Like I remember like that's just what they talked about every day, all day. Like that's what, when they would go deliver pizzas, like their car turned on and was like fucking blasting some show, like, you know, like they were always listening to Phish, and I liked punk shit when I was like 11, 12, 13, like that. Like when I'm starting to find my own music, it's like fucking Blink-182 and like the stuff that you like at that age. Like I liked all my dad's music. I liked Pink Floyd and like Allman Brothers and like Jimi Hendrix, and so like I was down for like ripping guitar solos, but Phish was like just so, it was just like what we listened to in the kitchen, and like
They were just like into it too?
No. They were like, my dad comes into the restaurant, he's like, turn the fucking roller coaster off. He was always calling it the roller coaster because their their jam's like, you know, like fucking all over the place. But like, it was really out of like, they said it was cool and that Green Day was lame, you know? And I was like, cool, I'll go on LimeWire. We talk about LimeWire in my episode with you. I'll go on LimeWire and I'll fucking start like downloading a shit ton of Phish. And so like I would just like download every song that had like a Tweezer in it, because I liked Tweezer and I liked Bathtub Gin, and so like those two songs I'd like look for those like versions of those. And then like I got into like that thing that you do when you start getting into like the Grateful Dead or jam bands, is like you find one version of it and you fucking play that version of that song and over and over and over again, and then you find another version of it. And then you like listen to a show and listen to them like play into it from another song, or like maybe they like tease something in it, you know. So you go listen to like that whole set, and then you listen to that whole show a bunch of times until you're sick of it, and then you start listening to that whole like year, and like it's like that jam band. I don't know what that is, that research that we all end up having to do, where like then at some point at a young age I'm like listening to every single, like I'm trying to go through every show, and It was super interesting to me in that way, and so
Phish is weird. I feel like most people start with the Dead and then they go to Phish. You were just straight to the dirty stuff, straight to Phish.
It was and it was really like, it was because it was really hot on my older brother's ears. Like he was also a Deadhead, but like I just listened to so much more Phish to start off than the Dead. Like I think I was a pretty surface level Dead fan until I was like in high school, and then I kind of knew like that really it was the Grateful Dead that like people started doing all that type of research on, and you can do it even deeper with them almost, you know. And so but yeah, it was Phish first for sure.
It's funny how like important your older sibling, I mean for me it was an older cousin. I had an older cousin who kind of influenced me on all my music, and I was listening to, and like parents and older cousins or brothers, whatever it may be, and that was Phish and Grateful Dead for you. Because for me, I listened to like Matchbox 20 and like Bullet for My Valentine. So my cousin liked that. My mom liked Matchbox 20. So it's like you just get to that, and then by the time you get to college is when I was really, you know, doing things because I wanted to do them, and that's when I got into like the Grateful Dead and stuff. So it's always funny how people's journeys are so much different.
Yeah, that older brother, older sibling, older family member like that is cool and heady is like a classic. Yeah. That's a classic, like, opening the door thing. You know, like
it's you just hopefully you probably smoked weed with for the first time.
Right. Yeah. You just like stay away from the insane clown posse cousin and hang out with the Phish cousin. You know, like there's like, you know, there's different little pockets you can find yourself in there for sure.
Man, I've been kind of on an ICP defense lately.
Yeah, okay. Fuck yeah. Sorry, they didn't need to catch a stray in this conversation. They didn't.
Well, I watched this video on like some kid on Vice who does like, he goes into like weird things and just like does journalism on them. And he did one at like an ICP concert. It was like a weekend thing. And my girlfriend's watching it and it's like, these people are so weird with their like painted face and weird music and doing all the drugs. And I'm like, we go to Halloween every year, and we dress kind of weird, and we listen to weird music, and we do drugs. I was like, what's the difference? She's like, that's a big difference in what we do. And I was like, you might be right, but like these people are still kind of normal people. I mean, some kind of normal.
I would like to not be judged for what I do. And so you're right. I should reserve my judgment. And like, you know, I do the same thing. Like, I got like friends that are like fucking Disney adults, and they're like, "Why do you go to all these Phish?" They're like, "Why do you go to all these Phish shows?" I'm like, "Why do you fucking try to be 11 all the time? What's going on with that?" With that?
Nah, Disney adults are weird. I'd draw the line there. I'd draw the line there.
We save all our judgment for the Disney adults and leave ICP alone.
Absolutely. While we're still on the topic of Phish, though, you said this on your episode. You said you had some Phish questions that have been popping up in my podcast that you wanted to address. You
asked someone recently if it's a cult.
I ask a lot of my Phish people if they come on if it's a cult.
It is. So it just might be, like, you know, like in the way that the other things that we were just talking about are also cults. Like,
so maybe everything's just a cult.
Maybe things are all just a cult, and you just gotta pick whatever leader you think is chill. No, I mean, like, it is such a fucking insular thing. It's such a like inside baseball scene, and it like it's that thing of like, you ever like your friend went to a big college or whatever, and like you went to like a game at their school, and they do all these weird crowd chants. And there's like a fucking like weird mascot that everyone's like obsessed with, and you're like, I don't get it at all. Like, why do we care about this fucking muskrat thing or whatever? Or like, you know, and like you're like, that's kind of what going to a Phish show is like. If you're like not into it your whole life, like if you're not into it in a way that like you have this familiar, like I've got this family tie to it with my brothers, and like it's inside jokes almost, and like that's how like all the videos that I make were just inside jokes that I was doing with my brothers in a group chat, you know, like doing Bob voice and fucking like making fun of people who are like way too serious about Phish. Like Phish is super silly and feels like this like inside joke band that like, you know, you're at the Hollywood Bowl and they're doing like a vocal improv fucking jam that is absolute nothing, and the LA Philharmonic's going to be there tomorrow. Like there's like, it's all built-in silliness in that way, and it works. It's always worked for me. I've always loved the like fucking the goofball nature of it, you know. Yeah,
I wanna go to a Phish show, and I don't know if it's gonna work out this summer for me, but I want to go and experience it, and I would go with an open mind. You know, I listen to some of their music, and there's a local local Phish band, Fee Fi Fo Fish, shouts out, who play here every Thursday, and it's got a few of my homies in it. So I go see them quite a bit, and they're kind of turned me on. And a lot of my friends really like Phish, so I'd like to go see a show, but I just haven't done it. And I'll do it with an open mind when I do. But I have seen Trey Anastasio band and Oysterhead.
Sick.
Both of those were really good. Oysterhead is one that was an honorable mention I could have brought up. That show was crazy.
That's the thing. You have a podcast where you can bring up your honorable mentions on, so you're all good. Yeah,
that's true.
Extra bonus. True. But Oysterhead's very heavy. I mean, I've never caught them.
Dude, it was
so sick.
It was a dark show, and like I had met this dude earlier that day, and he was like, "Yeah, I just came back from like a 3 or 4 year tour in Afghanistan." He's like, "I have really bad PTSD, so I've been like microdosing mushrooms, and it's helping me like therapeutically." And I'm like, "Fuck yeah, dude, that's awesome, good for you." And he was like, "Tonight I'm gonna do a lot of mushrooms and like kind of try to have fun on it instead of just like for therapy." And I was like, "Hell, you're at the place to do it." It was at the 420 Sweetwater Festival. And I was like, "You're at the right place to do it for sure." And Oysterhead goes out and they play that song. It's like, "He went to Vietnam, he's just a shell of a man." Yeah. And that song's like playing, and I'm with that dude still, and he's just like rocking back and forth. And
boy.
I was like, oh man, I just wanted to like give him a hug, but I was like, maybe he's fine, maybe I'm just like overthinking it. And the show ended, and he was like, "Man, that was really awesome." And I was like, thank God. But I was worried about my boy for a little bit there.
Oh shit, dude. Yeah, that's a little too on the nose.
Yeah, it was like, and I don't know, like I already think Les Claypool just is like kind of a dark music to begin with, and Trey and the drummer, I can't remember his name, but
Stuart Copeland.
Yep, there you go.
Fuck yeah.
They kind of like lean into that dark energy too, so it was funny that whole situation kind of happened.
Yeah, there's been some like cool stuff like that gets real dark that I am into, that has a silly backing to it. You know, like I know that like, and Oysterhead and like, dude, Primus is for sure that they are just fucking so comfortable being the weirdest guys in the room. And like Giz is a little bit of that too. Like they'll start a show off just like dark as shit, and it'll like flower into this goofball fest. You know, like I like the like dichotomy between like, you know, something that's deeply serious and like maybe even a little dark and evil, and then like the silly blissy, you know, like I like Phish does that the best for me. They balance those two really well.
Yeah, the dark. I mean, I think the darkness is good in like doses. I mean, I don't want the whole show to be dark, but like going back to Billy again, like sometimes he does like All Fall Down and it gets like real trippy, or like Highway Hypnosis. Sometimes those can get really dark. So it does make it fun, and I mean, you go to shows to feel things. Sometimes it's good to feel that little bit of fear in you.
Yeah, like, and you don't want to have a bad trip or anything, or you don't want any of your buddies to have a bad trip. But then, like, sometimes when you like like you said, like give yourself a little dose of like what would maybe feel like a bad trip, you can kind of like laugh at it a little bit, and it like almost makes what you're on even better and funnier. And yeah, I don't know. But there's definitely times where it's uncalled for in the within whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
You know.
Sticking on the Phish thing though.
Yeah.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. What's up with that, man?
Dude.
What's the thoughts on the Phish fans?
So like I didn't know it, like going into this I didn't really know too much about the like fan voting. I've never voted as a fan for any band to get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But I was like surely if you win the fan vote you're in. Like but that apparently there's been
game.
Yeah, like, and apparently that's been a case for like tons of bands in the past. Like Dave Matthews Band didn't make it in 4 times, winning the fan vote, which is, I don't know, like maybe that makes a little bit of sense for Dave Matthews Band, because like, are they a rock and roll band? Like, is that rock and roll? Like, I don't know, but like Phish is a rock band. They accomplish everything that happens in a rock and roll stadium show in their 3 hours. They do like, you know, ripping ass guitar solos. They've got like one of the best drummers alive. There's like synthy stuff. They've got an amazing light show. They'll be really ambient and confident and slow, and you know, bring the crowd down to a quiet. And you know, the crowd is such a part of the show. Like for me, they are deeply, like, if we're talking about rock and roll, like they are rock. They're super rock and roll. And so it's not like The Dead or Dave Matthews or, you know, Billy, where they're like, well, is it rock and roll, or is it bluegrass, or is it, you know, Americana? Is it fucking, like, these guys that's what they do. They do fucking rock and roll. So
who got in over them?
And I said the thing about Cyndi Lauper. I love Cyndi Lauper. Okay, Cyndi Lauper got in. She's rock and roll as fuck. Chubby Checker got in. Why is Chubby Checker not in the fucking? Why are we still guessing whether or not Chubby Checker should be in the fucking Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Joe Cocker, Bad Company, whatever. But Outkast, like that kind of falls under. They're total legends. Is that rock and roll? I don't know.
Yeah.
But the egregious one, the fucking one that's like, what are we doing here? Is Salt and Pepper. Like, brother, we don't even have more than 2 songs from these motherfuckers. Like, what are you talking about?
I still can't. I mean, if we're doing rock and roll, Outkast, I love Outkast. Great group. Should they be in some kind of music hall of fame? I'll stamp my approval on that.
Big time.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I don't know.
And it's because there's there's precedent there. Like, there are other rap groups that are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And if there are other rap, like if NWA and, you know, A Tribe Called Quest or like these like rap groups from the past are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, then Outkast certainly deserves to, without a doubt. But Salt and Pepper?
And why are we taking so long for Joe Cocker to be in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah. Do that 10 years ago or don't do it at all. What are we doing?
I need to do some deep diving into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I have to write a letter.
I've like watched the ceremony before, like when Rush got in. This is my other point about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. When they do the induction ceremony, they will have like celebrity musicians come through and play whoever these artists' songs are. Like they're gonna play, fucking Bad Company for Bad Company. They're gonna do a Beatles song for Joe Cocker because his most famous song is With a Little Help from My Friends. But they who the fuck are they gonna pull to play Phish songs? Like. Yeah. What, is it going to be fucking Dave Grohl playing Phish songs? Like, what, are they going to play the worst fucking Yem of all time? Like, I don't need to... Like, when they inducted Rush, like, that was my parents' Phish. Like, my parents love Rush. They probably saw, like, fucking 100 shows. Major Rush fans. But the induction was weird. It was like, all right, they're just playing a shitty version of this really hard composition,
So someone else plays one of their songs for the induction?
Yeah, it'll be like leading up to their induction, they'll be like, and now, here's John Legend, Dave Grohl, and Thundercat playing Salt and Peppa's Here.
What is
Push
Salt
It.
and Pepper even? Oh, that's Push It. That's their song?
Yeah, dude.
It's going to be like Doja Cat and Nicki Minaj?
Which is going to be fucking sick. But, like, should they... but should they be at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? And should... Dude, like, Salt and Pepper doesn't even have, like, a second album. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there's some deep contribution that they've made to the scene. Maybe they produced a bunch of shit. But I'm just like, dude, that's disrespectful to my boys, to Phish.
Is Trey Anastasio himself in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Trey is not, but in the atrium of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, when you walk in to the first room, there's a hot dog hanging from the ceiling that Phish rode on at Big Cypress through the crowd, and they threw out meat sticks and stuff. And it's a part of their show that they played all the way through the night. They played before midnight on 1999 through until the sun came up on 2000 for like 8 hours.
Was that the Gamehenge one?
That is no, but that was earlier, like a couple years before that. But that's 99 to 2000, and they call that Big Cypress. And so that's like that moment is a big moment in Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and like to embody it, they have the hot dog that they rode in on, hanging from the ceiling when you walk in. So they're already in the Hall of Fame in a way. So like, what are we doing here? They're already in.
They just want the gimmicks. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame wants the gimmicks.
We're taking the hot dog back. The Page Meme Connell made that joke. Guess what? We're taking the hot dog back. You don't get the hot dog until Phish is in.
I'm on board with that. 100%.
You can find some other bullshit in there. Yeah.
I need to do a deep dive, dude.
You got dive deep, dude.
I want to do a deep dive into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and see who's in there and who isn't now, because I'm sure there's a lot of controversy. Even though I feel like now, like in our lifetime, all these Hall of Fames just getting like watered down. Like everybody's just win a couple Super Bowls, you're in it. Joe Flacco's gonna be in it before we know it. Phillip Rivers is gonna be in it.
It's like everybody's got a documentary. I'm like, dude, you're still in the middle of your career, dude. Like,
Aaron Rodgers?
You're not even retired, let alone dead. Your story's not told yet, dude, and you got a documentary out? Like, I don't know. That being said, I've got a Mr. Cam documentary coming out in a month here. No, I'm just kidding.
Speaking of the NFL, are you a big Bears fan?
I'm a big Bears fan, yeah.
So why the Bears and not the Packers?
So I moved up to Wisconsin when I was 8. My whole family's from Schaumburg, Illinois, and we're all big Bears fans. Yeah, man, I carried that up to Wisconsin with me, and Wisconsin people are very serious about the Packers. I got a lot of shit growing up about being a Bears fan. House teepeed, fucking.
Are they gonna be good this year?
Listen, man, like this is the best time of year to be a Bears fan. It's the off season. We're all hope.
A couple good draft picks.
Yep, we got a couple good like free agency offensive lineman signings. We're all hope right now. I really like Caleb Williams a lot. I would hate to watch us ruin another quarterback. I liked Justin Fields a lot. I feel like we just fucking ruined that kid.
Well, if you guys get a line, I think you'll be okay. I mean, that was the problem. Caleb Williams just couldn't even develop because he's getting punched in the mouth as soon as he comes back.
I think he's a special dude, and I think that if we are able to kind of like string together a kind of good season, that'll give everyone a lot of hope. But like, Chicago's weird right now because people just hate the Bears. Like the Bears front office are just like the supreme assholes of sports. Like,
Is it the McCaskies?
it's the McCaskies, yeah, dude, and they just like here's I'm gonna air this out here. My brother worked at a very private golf course in the Chicagoland area where the McCaskies golf.
Which one is
And I'm not gonna say.
Okay.
It's Knollwood. And they'd show up and golf, and this is like, so he's working there when we signed Khalil Mack. It's the biggest signing in the history of, like, we don't do that. The Bears don't fucking go after a massive signing. And not only did like Kyle is like trying to make conversation with the guys like before a first tee or whatever. Not only did they not know who Khalil Mack is, they don't know anybody on the current Chicago Bears. They don't even know who we're playing first because he's like asking them questions. It makes me sick to my stomach. And like people in Chicago know that, so they're just like, fuck them, like fuck the Bears.
Yeah, and that's like the oldest franchise in the NFL. Yeah, that's a problem. They got to do something about that.
I really do think the NFL is better. What's your team, by the way?
I'm a Bucks fan.
Bucks fan? Oh yeah, you're
Tampa
Tampa
Bay.
guy.
Yep.
Tampa Bay guy. I really do feel like the NFL is better when some of these classic old teams are good. Like when the Bears and the Packers are good and that rivalry's cooking, that's good football. Like when the Steelers, are good, or like,
The Lions.
the Detroit Lions. Yeah,
Yep.
well, it is cool that the Lions are good right now. Like it mainly because their fans have been with them. Like the Bears have sucked for a long time. The Lions have sucked forever, dude. Like we at least went to a Super Bowl in my lifetime,
Yeah, I don't know if the Lions have they won a playoff game since we've been alive? Since I've been alive? I think you're a little older than me, but
Just last year, I think.
Yeah.
Fucking.
And they blew it, and they got fucking crushed too.
Yeah, dude. I love the Bears. I'm a big Bulls fan. I love the Blackhawks. I'm a Sox fan, and they all suck. So every one of them, they're
Why
trash.
did you choose the Sox and not the Cubs? How does that
Same thing. It
work?
was like a family thing. Like
Okay.
all my uncles, my dad, and I got one uncle who's a Cubs fan, and the summer, like when Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa were going back and forth and hitting like 70 home runs, I loved Sammy Sosa in that year, but I've always been a Sox fan. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you go back to Chicago quite a bit?
Yeah, I go back, I would say every like 6 months or so. I'm going back over the summer and doing some Phish and like doing a show at the old theater that I did all my improv at and stuff in Chicago. And yeah, dude, every time I'm back there, I'm like, fuck, I want to move back. I love Chicago. It's still my favorite city in the country, and it's like the best right now too. Like spring
They
into
got that
summer
new
is just
venue
like
too. It looks sick. The Garcias or whatever.
Garcia's is sick. The Salt Shed, it is very sick. They just built that like 2 or 3 years ago, and it's awesome. I love that venue too.
I'm going
Yeah,
there
man.
for the first time this September to Chicago, so I'm stoked.
It's a good time to go. And like Chicago fans at venues are great too, because like they bought those tickets 6 months ago. They can't wait for that band to be there. Like I feel like Chicago brings out real fans of stuff. Like I've noticed since moving to California, especially when I was living in LA, it was a little like, maybe people bought the tickets the night of, or they're fucking like wanted to be on the guest list or some shit. And like Chicago fans are like, they are so
We're ready.
big fans, like been waiting for you to come through type people, Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned Chicago being kind of where you started some of your improv. I want to hear like what got you into comedy and like let's start with that. What got you like into comedy, getting up on stages?
I wanted to do that going into college. I really didn't do like theater in high school. I went to a really small high school in Wisconsin, and we just didn't have that kind of programming a little bit. So I just played sports through high school. But when I was in college, I was interested in maybe hitting some open mic stuff or trying that out. But like Milwaukee, I went to school just outside of Milwaukee, and I really didn't have maybe went to an open mic once or twice, and it was just like, nah, I don't know if that was really that wasn't that fun. But first time I ever really performed is when I moved to Chicago, and I knew that was going to be like an option for me. Like Chicago is like this comedy town, and they've got improv, and they got stand up, and they got sketch stuff, and you could like they got Second City, and they've got all these cool different outlets for doing comedy. And so, like my first 6 months in Chicago, I actually lived with my grandma out in Elgin, like out in the suburbs, and I would drive into the city and just do open mics and just try to work out material. And at some point in that process, I had a boss that was like, you would love Second City because you like sketch comedy, and Second City is like basically a factory that sends people out for SNL. Like they've been doing it since SNL started, like birthplace of sketch comedy and improv comedy and all that, and people really move there to do it. And so took classes there, and then like got into their like kind of graduate program, and like really got into like the improv and acting and sketch writing thing too on top of the stand up. And so yeah, like if you are someone who is interested in comedy, like Chicago is the fucking absolute best city to go do it in. I felt like when I moved to LA and I started doing shows out here, people would be like I wouldn't even know them, and then after the show they'd be like, "You're from Chicago, right?" Like because they could just tell, like you
can tell Chicago people Chicago.
Yeah, they're like people like, oh, you get like outlining jokes well, or you like the structure of your set was like really polished, and like there's just good schools for that in Chicago. I don't think you can like learn how to be funny from a class, but like Second City can help you structure and like give some fucking balance to what you do. And so I'm so glad I did that. Like I think it really like helped make me a better comedian in a big way.
I know this is like, I know the answer to it, but I don't. So you're still pursuing comedy. You did like that. You like at Jam Cruise, you did like a stand-up routine, right? Is that something you're still doing? Is like going to open mics and like doing like different improvs, or are you kind of just focusing more on like the skit side of comedy right now on like social media?
I would still love to be performing live every night if I could. Like in Chicago, doing shows like 5 nights a week was like such a hustle, you know, in and of itself, but it was so much fun. And now, like gearing up for something like Jam Cruise or like Mondegreen or like some of these festivals I've performed at, like I'm not going to work out Mondegreen material at an open mic in San Francisco. Like maybe one guy is going to be like, fuck yeah, dude. Like, you know, but like, like I'm not going to get like the response I'm looking for. So I'm really like, when I go to these festivals and I'm performing at them, I'm trying to improvise and like touch on what's going on in the moment at these places and like what's going on around at the festival instead of like rolling in with my 15. And I think that's been a lot more fun for me. It's really hard to go. I think it's a very underrated and very difficult skill to make something look like you're thinking of it on the spot. But it's actually a rehearsed bit. Like that's what the best comedians can do. And I am so interested in doing something once and then like doing something else, you know?
So will you do like say you make a skit on Instagram and you see it does really well, it's received well. Are you like, now how can I kind of make this into a joke that I can tell at a festival? Or are you not trying to do that? You're trying to just focus on the improv stuff?
No, yeah, I let those kind of live there, and you know, I'll do like Bob Weir. It's like Bob Weir is like, oh man, if things aren't going well, you can fucking bust out Bobby, no problem, dude. Come on,
like
man.
Shane
Yeah,
Gillis with the Trump stuff.
Exactly. It's like just start doing this, and he'll be just fine. Yeah, no, I mean, I keep Bobby in my back pocket, and I've like used him in different ways. Like did some crowd work as Bob, or like I like read his like an acceptance speech of an award as Bob, or like I've done like rap battle disses as Bob. Like I try to do something different at every place because our community is so fucking like, dude, you fucking did that last time we were in town. Like, you know, like, and I want people to get a different experience every time they see me, but like sort of, you know, like there was a joke at like I did Goosemas at the Poorhouse, like on night 0 of Goosemas, and there was a bit on there that was a little like a video that I had done in the past, but you know, try to like let those live on the internet and do something
Yeah.
different on stage.
Yeah, that's cool. So, comedy's something I've always really, really liked. I kind of write. I like to write skits in like a Mad TV, Gillian Keeves type thing. Just like
Yeah, dude.
I carry around this little book with me sometimes, and like I'll get a little idea of something, and I'm like write it down, and later just try to. I never really do anything with it, but it's fun to just like turn a little funny thought into a funny idea. Maybe one day I'll show some people, but for now it's just something funny to kind of do creatively.
Yeah, dude.
Who's your favorite like guy doing stand up right now?
We were talking about it leading
Yeah.
into this episode here, but Rory Scovel. I mean, there's a lot of really great comedians. Like I love, Gillis, and I love fucking Andrew Santino, and I love. We're talking about Stavros, and fucking. There's a lot of like really, really good comedians, but I think Rory Scovel, like the way that he approaches doing his set is like really interesting to me. He is fully improvising an entire hour every single time he goes out, and it's like it's so sick, and he pulls it off. Like he really steps off the ledge and is just doing like crazy bits, and it's like he does that thing of like how did we get here? Like how did we even start talking about this? Like, and the knowledge the whole time of that he does not have a set is just like super fucking interesting to me. So, and I feel like jam people should be knowing about Rory Scovel.
They should know about Mr. Cam. You're doing improv bits too, man.
Yeah,
Come
dude.
on.
Yeah, dude. Exactly. That's what we're doing here, man.
I have one last comedian that I've been like getting into lately, and I think he's from Chicago. And I was doing a deep dive on him the other day. I was like, maybe Cam knows this guy, Scoochi Boochie.
Brother, are you serious?
Yeah.
Scoochi Boochie is my boy.
Really?
Literally, this is, oh fuck, dude. I'm so glad you brought him up. Him and I were on the same house team at IO, this building that I did most of my improv at. Like when we got like drafted onto a team there, me and Scooch were on the same team, dude.
No way.
And we performed together a ton through Chicago. He was like absolutely within my smaller circle of people that I did. Dude, we did so many shows together, like in all improv shows. There was even, and this is real, this is fucking real, I swear to God. For one of his first shows, we rehearsed as me being his like DJ and hype man as DJ Dad, and I would do like ad libs, and I was gonna like dress as I was gonna be like in like a sweater vest and glasses and like tucked in shirt and do his ad libs, and we were very smart for not doing that. That would have sucked. But it was, dude. When his shit, like when I first heard his albums, like I had already seen him perform so much, I was like, dude, this is fucking amazing, dude. He's like, I know. He's like, it's my whole, I love it, But he already had like 2 albums out when I met him, and now, like just now, those songs are like popping. Like he's made these videos like a while ago, dude. Like
The videos are like so well made too.
he is truly a genius. He is such a good dude. He is a Michigan boy, he's a Virginia boy.
Do you know where?
yeah. Fuck, I wish I knew, dude. He's a Virginia boy, and dude, the kid can fucking rap in a real.
Yeah. So funny, dude. So good.
And it was so funny to watch, like, because he was performing at like comedy shows, and so like you'd see like someone do some stand up, someone would do a sketch, and then it'd be like, all right, now we're gonna have like Scooch is gonna do 2 songs, and like watching a seated comedy crowd. Like, watch a guy start rapping, and they'd be like, all right, what's this going to be? And, like, within the first, like, couple bars, he's like, he's got him. Like,
Yeah.
They're like, dude, this guy's amazing. Like, his writing is so good. And he's such a good buddy. We almost lived together for a period of time, so that was almost a thing, too. Like,
And he blew up fast.
I'm so proud of this dude. Like, I literally just, before I left for Phish Tour, me and him were talking back and forth. I'm like, dude, you just stuck with these songs. Like, you just kept making good stuff. You stuck with it. You kept putting it out there. Like you were talking earlier about, like, I'm famous for, like, starting something and giving up on it. Like, he made these songs and these videos years ago, and he just never gave up on them. He kept pushing them.
Yeah.
And, dude, now people are loving it. He's, like, booking 6 shows. Like, he's playing the best venues in Chicago. Like, I'm so proud of that dude. Like, I'm so glad you brought him up. I could not be happier about that.
Yeah, I saw him like I feel like I saw him maybe a few months ago, and he had like 100,000 followers, and I was like, this guy's hilarious. I was like showing my girlfriend all this, and then I look at his page today, it's like 300 something followers, and I'm like, my boy is blowing up fast.
Dude, it is happening quick for Scooch, man, and I'm so proud of him. Like,
Good. That makes me happy to hear that he's such a good dude.
Oh, he is the best dude, and like he is. I mean, the fact that this guy makes that music is just so fucking funny, dude. Like he has just got fucking bars. It's hilarious.
I'm the best rapper alive. I was born in a volcano.
he was born in a volcano, dude. And he's come back from the planet Atlantis, and you know, dude, I'm so glad you brought him up on this episode. That's so funny, man.
I hope people look him up. Go look him up, Scoochi Boochie, right now. Me and Cam both follow him.
Yes, dude. If you fucking like Mr. Cam content, it is not like that at all. It is so different from that. That is so funny.
I feel like you've kind of developed, and correct me if I'm wrong on the timing on this, but you developed this like skit persona, doing the Bob Weir impressions, doing like funny Phish jokes, and then you started the podcast. What made you want to start the podcast?
Yeah, I mean, something that me and my brother, like a lot of the shows that I was going to was just really me and my brother, Kyle. And we would always, especially at like Phish shows or Dead shows, like we end up sitting next to someone, older head, you know, they're looking at us like we're like in our 20s, like who the fuck are these guys? And then like at the end of the first set, they're like, oh, these guys like get the music. They haven't talked the whole time. They're fucking like, you know, we always end up like striking up conversations with some older head, and we would like always try to get these good old like Dead stories or Phish stories or just, you know, stories of seeing music. And eventually that question of like, what's your best show ever always popped up. And so we had kind of joked about like that we run a podcast at Set Break, and we always ask these old heads what their best show ever is. And then, you know, as an audience kind of started to form with the videos and stuff, I was like, dude, we could do a podcast. It's a great idea. Kyle doesn't need attention like I do, and so he's like, you do that. I'm not gonna do it. Have a blast. He's done a couple episodes with me. Yeah, and he's great, but we really, it just came from like talking with people at Set Break, trying to get cool stories from old heads about what it was like in the 90s or the 70s or whatever it was. And it's been like super cool to watch this kind of turn into something that people request to be on, or like, oh, we would love to have our artist on your podcast or something, like, you know. Yeah. Amazing. So cool to watch that come to fruition, you know?
So that makes a little more sense than that you kind of had this idea of doing it as a Set Break thing, because I've seen a video of you at Bonnaroo asking people their favorite show, and they're just giving, the dude was like Roger Clemens and then some other chicks naming some Hulu show.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that was, perfect. Literally perfect. Like, you know. You
exact
never know
opposite of what you wanted, but worked just the way you wanted to.
As soon as the second person said something that wasn't a show, I was like, oh, this is great. We're onto something here. Let's try to get some more responses of like not show things.
My favorite part is you're like, we just helped you hop this fence, and I wanted to ask you what your best show ever was. And then
she's like White Lotus.
Yeah, and you're like, where was that at? And you're like, she's like, I don't know, it's on Hulu or something.
What? No, like fucking. We were at a music festival. Yeah, I don't know, dude. Too funny. And then, you know, I'm not reframing that question. I hope I get that again. When the guy said Roger Clemens, I could not have guessed that. There's no way I could have known.
Your best show ever been like Breaking Bad, season 5, episode 12.
That is probably best show ever for that is probably, oh man, it's got to be an episode of it's got to be an episode of 30 Rock.
Really?
And it might be the episode.
I've never seen that show.
Oh man, dude, I've watched every episode of that show a billion times. Or maybe an episode of South Park. It's like there's like one of those. It's somewhere in there. It's an episode in there. And then best show I ever saw sports wise was probably fucking, I watched Jimmy Butler hit a game winner at a show or at a show one time when he was playing for the Bulls. You know, it's a pretty good show.
Lead guitar for the Bulls.
Yeah, right.
So I had a couple questions as like somebody who's new to the podcast game, and I do take notes on what you do, and I see you have success. So of course I want to try to emulate some of those things. But how do you deal with just like not getting caught up in the numbers? We talked about it briefly. Like this one did really good, and I don't know why, and then this one didn't do good, and I don't know why. But how do you get caught up, or how do you not just get caught up in those numbers at times?
It's hard not to, man. Like it's hard when you know the numbers and you're really excited about an episode. There's so many episodes that I'm really excited for people to see, and especially after like a good conversation like we had, I'm like, fuck, dude, I want people to see that. Like,
yeah.
Just as like at a baseline, but I try to like keep, especially with the podcast stuff, I try to keep the context of that this is now out and it lives forever. Like. This is something that someone can find, and it, maybe there's some topical stuff on it that it lives in like that moment, but hopefully these are evergreen enough that you can go back and listen to it and it's still interesting, later on, and it doesn't have to be found right away. But it's so hard to, like you put a lot of time into this shit. You're like we said before, we're being vulnerable, and you want people to see your work. You want it to at least get viewed at a minimum, and then also be liked at a maximum, and have people dig it. But I try not to like get too caught up in like that made it good or bad, like just because people didn't see it doesn't mean it was bad. It just means that, I don't know, those things are out of your control, and those are usually the things that drive you the most mad anyway, or like the things that you can't control, at least for me,
Yeah, I feel like too, I never thought of it that way, but I feel like some of my like episodes that I felt like I did the worst at, because sometimes like some people you just have like that connection with, I guess, and it's easy to keep things going, and sometimes it's a little harder to keep those conversations going, or I like miss an opportunity to, they say something and I'm so worried about the next question that I didn't even expand on the same question I could have asked, you know what I mean? So then I'll listen back to it and I'm like, fuck, I messed that one up. So it's hard to like, and again, I think that's like us being the most critical people of ourselves. And it just makes it like that much harder to not only get caught up in the numbers, but just making sure that what you're putting out is good.
Yeah, and like trying to like focus on like you're only worried about that or nervous about that because you want to do a good job. Like you're not trying to like just pump shit out and you don't care about it. Like we care deeply about this stuff. We want it to be good, and like that's the best compliment I ever received from someone is they're like, it is like so worth my attention. They're like it, or like someone's like, it is such a part of my day now. I'm like, that's sick. Like like that's a huge, huge compliment that it's like worth listening to. And we do a lot of work to like make sure that's the case. And so you want people to, listen to it,
Yeah, I had an interview with somebody and it was a virtual one. And we kind of talked about how I try to do as many as I can face to face, but it's not always the case. And he joined on his phone. Like he wasn't driving, but someone else was driving. And I was just like, hey man, with all due respect, like it was like you could hear like like the sound driving makes when you're like on the phone with somebody, you can tell they're in a car. And I was like, with all due respect, man, I appreciate you coming on, I appreciate your time, but I would like to reschedule this for a time where you're like sat and we can have a better conversation, and if not, no worries. And he was like, hey man, I get that, I respect that, I'm glad to do your podcast the correct way. So kind of going up what I said.
You got to live in both. Like, there's some things you got to be like, hey, it's whatever, man. But like some stuff, like when it comes to the things that you can control, like the quality of someone's audio, or like like if we're doing this at the right time or whatever, like that's not whatever, man. Like let's get the right recording. Let's do this well, so we don't have to do it again. Or have this like waste of time. Like that's a waste of time.
Yeah.
And there is I've had a guest too that did it on their phone, and I'm just like, you know what, this doesn't have to be out. Like,
I have had to do that once. I didn't put one out, but
that sucks. Like,
it
sucks. It's awkward, but they wouldn't like if a venue gave them an audio back and they were like, yeah, this is what it is, and there was like a chainsaw in the background, you'd be like, okay, well, our fans are gonna fucking hate this, so I mean,
That's what I've been going off of for the
you know.
numbers thing lately. Is I think like I've been doing this for 3, almost 4 months now, and like say I get like if I get like 100 listeners on a podcast, that's a good one for me. Sometimes I get more, sometimes I get less, but 100's like kind of that sweet spot. And
Yeah.
for me, and I was like telling my friend, I was like, I feel like my number should be a little bigger now. He's like, imagine if you were a touring band, and like 100 people came to your show in the first 3 months, you'd be pretty stoked about that. And I was like, well, yeah, I would. And he was like, it's 100 people who sat down to listen to you talk about bullshit for an hour. So like, think of it that way. And then I thought about that recently, and I was like, you know what? That is a good way to put at it. That like, even if it's one person, it just matters you're putting out something good.
Yeah, and then like what's funny is when something really pops, and you're like, really?
Yeah.
That like fucking that one interview is really, really good. I mean, I'm not saying anything about this one, but like, yikes. That's the one that popped out. Or like that happens with the videos all the time. Like I'll make something that I'm like, dude, that legitimately fucking cracks me up like so much, and then it'll just kind of flop or something, and then one that's like, you know, I put like 3 seconds of thought into.
My
like,
most viewed picture is on my like podcast page is me, my girlfriend, and my homie Ethan, who like came on the podcast. I got like 35,000 views on that one, but then it's like Frasco, Sugar Leg, Mountain Grass, and it's like, it was just the timing of
Hello?
it. Like, yeah, how did that happen? I mean, my girl
You
was
guys
hot.
like
Don't get
this.
me wrong, but like Andy Frasco is definitely cooler than her.
yeah, man. Like, and you've heard of these guys. What the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
We talked
weird.
about it briefly too on yours, and I wanted to get into it too because this is something that I've been experiencing. But like seeing shows differently now compared to like before you were somewhat of a public figure in the jam community to like now,
Yeah.
like how's that been different for you? I mean, imagine I've been recognized a couple times out, and it's kind of like, whoa, I guess I should maybe like not be getting so fucked up, or maybe I should just be more aware of your surroundings like that. And I feel like for you, like especially if as much Phish shows as you go to, as big as you are in the Phish community, like are people coming up to you a lot, or do you feel like they're pretty respectful about that?
They people come up and say stuff a lot, and it's awesome, dude. Like, I've been doing comedy for a long time. I've been waiting a long time for someone to walk up and be like, dude, I fucking love you from that one thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's sick. It's sick as fuck. It's like, I'm never over that, ever. But I am like I'm like not a like a party all night guy. I like have a social battery. Like, I definitely fucking after a Phish show, I like to wind it down. Like, I'm not like up fucking like, you know.
Creature
I've been
hours.
yeah, and I've been doing a lot of like afters and stuff. And I do find myself a little like, whew, like I didn't used to do it like this in the past.
Yeah.
Like, me and my brother used to just go back and sit in a hotel room and be like, all right, the Piper was sick, and then like this was sick, like, and it was just the two of us, you know, and we're not like interacting with a ton of people. We're almost interacting with no one other than like maybe the
Yeah.
one separate guy, and then that, like that was it. And now, yeah, like, and what's cool is that people connect with the thing. Like, they're like, dude, that is so, this video is so me, or like this video is so my brother Tom, and I got to send a picture to Tom because we like we send your shit all the time, and like that is so fucking sick that like people will say something like I have this Phish friend of mine that we knew from the 90s, but I haven't talked to him in like 10 years for some reason. And he sent me one of your videos, and now we're going to shows together again. I'm like,
Fuck yeah.
that is like way fucking cooler than like getting on TV or like
Yeah.
fucking like, you know, getting in a commercial with or whatever. Like, that is the sickest fucking coolest possible outcome for making something, is that it helps people connect with each other. So like, yeah, man, like sometimes my brother gets a little annoyed that we're like getting stopped as we're walking into the show. He's like, let's fucking get to the seats or whatever, you know, like, but I yeah, like, super fucking cool that happens, dude. Like,
Yeah, the
way
first
cool.
time it happened to me, I was like, oh my gosh, someone knows, they listen to my shit enough to recognize me? And then I was like, well, maybe I gotta tone it down a little bit sometimes at these shows. I can't be all fucked up if someone comes up to me. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, it has helped that it wasn't out of any, like, during the Sphere run last year in April, I, like, didn't drink during that weekend, and I was like, ooh, that felt really good. That helped, that really helped me do those 4 days, and so what helps is that I'm not, like, getting hammered at these shows anymore, and I'm not, like, could definitely be more of a wise ass and, like, not as pleasant to be around when I'm fucking, hammered, but, like, yeah, like it's a little easier to like take a little bit of mushrooms and then like goof around with people,
Yeah.
Like,
That's what I'm finding too. Is like the older I get, I'm like, I don't really want to. Like at festivals, I'm like, I refuse to drink. Cause I'm like, I'm not gonna ruin a whole day of being here when I'm sleeping in
crotchety.
the woods, not getting that much sleep anyways. Like I'm not drinking.
I'm gonna be cranky, dude.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get cranky.
You don't want that.
You don't want me cranky. Yeah.
All right, man. Well,
I
that
mean-
is. Oh, I want to talk about your Sirius XM thing you did the other day. What was that up?
Mm-hmm.
What was up with that? That was pretty cool.
That was Eliza Elishant from Phish Radio. Is super cool. She works on the road. She's like recording the breaks of Phish Radio on the road. And so basically just like in between songs, they'll have little segments of like, what'd you think of what's been going down? And for me, when I'm out seeing Phish shows, I really don't do any podcast stuff. I really try not to make any like content or anything. I did a little bit at this last run. But like it's cool to see someone who's like a pro working at Phish Radio and what that kind of looks like to like be on tour and also be working. And so super cool of her to have me on. I just went on there and talked about how sick Phish was, and pretty easy conversation to have for me. I'm biased, so.
Nice. Alrighty, man. Well, we've done a podcasting marathon here. I did Cam's. Cam did mine. He's the host of the best show ever. Always asking people, what is the best show ever that they've seen? So I want to ask you our last question. What is your best show ever, Cam?
Oh man, I've said this. I've said different answers a couple times. I think if people are actually following along with my answers to this, they're gonna be like, "You didn't fucking say that the last time." So I fully realize that the concept of the podcast is very stupid. It's very hard to pick your best show ever, especially for people who see a shit ton of music. Like it's just like seeing sick shit all the time.
Much.
I mean, hey, you could have had more, dude. We could have kept going. But there was a show in 2019, 7/14/2019, Phish, Alpine Valley, home show near my house. That show, even in like the Phish community, pretty largely gets brought up as like that's a majorly big time show from this era.
What year was it? What was the date of it?
It's 7/14/2019. It's a Sunday show at Alpine Valley. They fucking play this like 36-minute version of a new song. At the time, Ruby Waves was a new song, and they like the jam on that is like, I mean, Trey literally just said in an article that like that jam specifically is as good as anything they did in the 90s, which just fucking validated my entire Phish career. I was like, oh, good. I'm not seeing a tired act, like he agrees. But that show was like me and my brother and our friend Willie, like my true like Phish, original Phish crew, and like I had seen a bunch of Phish shows at that point, but that show really just popped the lid off of like, this is like, this band is now like spiritually tattooed on my soul, like I will be seeing these guys every possible chance I get. And like, I was very in the middle of my comedy, coming up at that time and like doing the Second City thing. And I was very tightly wound around that. And that those shows, that weekend of shows, and specifically that show, was just like really inspiring in the way of like, you're good. Just keep plugging away, and not everything happens right away. Like you gotta keep at it, but you're fine, and you're gonna be fine. For some reason, those shows gave me this like, you're gonna be okay. Stop fucking freaking out about it all the time. Like I was always like, so-and-so gets this and so-and-so gets that.
I needed to hear that today too, so thank you.
Yeah, like, I mean, you've only been doing this since January, dude, and like it's just really easy to, especially if you're someone who's got some fucking faith in yourself, got a little confidence in yourself, and you're like, dude, I know that I can do a good job. And yeah, and those shows, like, the first show I ever went to, like, I got brought by some guy who's like a 300 show dude. And he texted me after that 7/14/2019 show, and he was like, yeah, like, you don't have to go see Phish anymore. Like, that's the one we're all trying to see. Like, that's the fucking...
I'm going to listen to it.
He's like, you just saved yourself so much money. And I'm like, oh, it was so great. Crowd reactions were amazing. Fucking sick.
To follow up on that, though, and this might be a little more difficult for you.
Yeah.
Best show ever that's not Phish.
Yeah, dude. Whoa. Best show ever that's not Phish is really, really, really tough. There was a lot of shows that I saw with my family that were like majorly sick shows, and like going with pops, like my parents were big on going to shows. They owned a restaurant, they worked a lot, but like when their bands came around and we went with, that was like a big deal. We're like, oh shit, get to go to the show with mom and dad. And so like really early on, like, oh man, there's probably a Rush show in there that was just like, Rush is like such a big deal in our house, and like getting to go to the show with the folks was like a big deal. And like Neil Peart and Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson were a little like how Phish is now, where they're like 40 years in and they're still so good. Like the show was not like, they wheeled them out and they just fucking, did what they could, and then like they were like ripping. And so it's like that, like Rush, and then the couple times I've seen David Gilmour live.
Okay.
I've seen him twice. He was the lead guitarist of Pink Floyd. And that is another longevity dude. Like, he puts out albums, and like you want to hear the new songs. Like he'll play some Pink Floyd shit that'll blow your head off. But like David Gilmour is, he's like a musician's musician. Like all of my favorite guitarist is David Gilmour, and so just fucking, he's the kind of sound that like when you hear him like for 2 seconds, you're like, that's David Gilmour. So to hear his like guitar in the room was like,
it's really cool. Yeah,
very, very fucking cool. So
nice, man.
Yeah, dude.
Well, I think we did
good
it.
Cues.
Back
good
to
questions.
Back to back podcasting champions of the world. And if you did,
let's call up Cody and do his right now.
I was about to say, we still have beef with Cody Nottingham. Hopefully he sees this.
Fuck that guy.
All right,
he's throwing shots at me constantly.
He is, dude. He goes for your neck on Instagram.
I don't get it, dude. I was such a nice guy to him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't understand.
He's the abrasive guy in this thing. He's just always going for necks.
Yeah, we need it.
Somebody's got to hold us accountable.
Yeah, right.
All right, Cam. Anything you want to plug before we let you go?
Check out. Hey, if you like podcasts, go check out the Best Show Ever podcast.
I got news for you.
Man, we got some podcasts. And if you're going to be in Chicago this summer, if you're planning on going to Phish in Chicago this summer, try to get there a day early. I'm going to be doing a Night Zero thing with the band Hot Like Mars at the comedy club I was talking about, I.O. That's going to be a super cool homecoming thing for me. I'd love to see as many people as possible there for that. So it's not till July, but
hell yeah,
get out there.
Hot Like Mars, friends of the program. That's also we definitely do have podcast beef now, because my All Jammed Up festival is July 19th, the day Phish plays in Chicago.
Oh shit! Wow, there we go. So everyone,
there's the podcast beef.
Get your plane tickets from Asheville now to Chicago for Night Zero.
You just got jammed.
Welcome back from that interview with Mr. Cam. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. Cool for me. Guy's hilarious. He knows the homie Scoochi Boochie, which if you don't know who that is, look him up on Instagram. He's hilarious. But that's it for today, guys. On Thursday, like I said, we'll have Kyle Gordon. That'll be a fun one. And then, don't worry, back into the jam band stuff next week. But, sometimes I want to do different ones. I get the opportunity to interview these guys. It's fun for me. Try something new. Yeah. Have a great week, guys. We'll see you on Thursday. And remember, wherever you are right now is exactly where you're supposed to be.
Come along, have a drink with me. We can talk about the world and how the world is turned so slow. Oh, oh.
day and night I found. Cars they drive and planes they fly. I look into the sun and the sky, you're so bright. It's you that I have found. Oh, and I know it's not much longer now. Or if the world would just slow down. The moon and the stars, they sail across the sky, and I could watch you dance all through the night. When the rhythm is right, oh, and I know the sun is rising now. Or if the world would just slow down. So you move with me and I'll move with you, and I could spend the rest of my life by your side.